Everybody, thanks for joining us on this Friday, May 8th, 2026. I'm CJ LeMaster, your lead investigative reporter and your host for the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk Update. I hope you're doing well today. We have a lot to get to, but I also want to make sure that before we get started, that we say hi. This would probably help, wouldn't it? Probably couldn't even hear me at the beginning. This just goes to show you sometimes when we're trying to do these things, my left hand doesn't know what my right hand is doing, and sometimes I'm speaking without a microphone and just assuming you can hear me. Sorry about that, folks. Where was I? Oh, yeah. This is the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk Update for your Friday, May 6th, or May 8th, 2026. Thankfully, you can hear me now. I'm CJ LeMaster, your lead investigative reporter and your host each weekday, and we appreciate you watching. Sorry about the craziness at the beginning here, but we have a lot to get to. We got many of you watching right now on our Facebook and YouTube live stream, also our OTT platforms. A lot more new information that we want to tell you about from the state in terms of the severe weather. We know more now from the National Weather Service, and that's what we're going to actually get to and lead off with today. The National Weather Service confirming that 5 tornadoes touched down Wednesday night in the WLBT viewing area. An EF3 that hit Lincoln County in southwest Mississippi was one of the strongest. And for the first time, you're seeing what it looks like from the air. This is from our Drone 3, showing you the extensive damage at the Wash Mobile Home Park on Highway 51. That's north of Bogue Chitto. This is some of the county's worst damage. The storm started gaining strength in eastern Franklin County before it went over. Now, the destruction in Lincoln County, of course, widespread, but no deaths were reported. We can tell you that there's also a long road to recovery just east of the mobile home lot. Homes on Pricedale Drive, also surrounded by ruins, some even turned over completely from the winds. The streets are littered with power lines and other trees. Some residents even trapped behind that debris.
It was after 11 o'clock. It was lots of people had to cut trees. It was just, I think they said probably 25 trees you could not even reach around down on the road. They had to cut trees, pull them out of the road in order to get a vehicle up here.
The entire road was full of trees from across the street, had fell over. We did have crews that came out last night, and they came and cleared the roads.
Two women who live nearby tell us this is the worst storm they've seen rip through their community. But of course, when we have times like this, we also have periods of hope and help from so many that are rushing to try and do what they can to help those who were affected in the storm. Lincoln County Sheriff Steve Rushing saying that donations and calls started coming in immediately after the storm hit Wednesday night. At Calvary Baptist Church over in Bogue Chitto, Members and volunteers have been giving hot meals, snack bags, and other essentials to people who've lost everything they have. Kids who were not in class because the schools are closed joined the effort too. Many shocked to see how much was collected and donated in such a short amount of time.
How fast everything has happened has really been like crazy to me. It really just shows like how God works and how he's working through people, and he's like putting it on everybody's hearts to come together so fast. And I'm just really proud of everybody for coming together so quickly to help our community.
The pastor says the church will likely be open for about a week to help everyone get what they need. For those of you who need a place to stay in Lincoln County, also a shelter is open, the Lincoln County Safe Room over on Beltline Drive, American Red Cross, providing that to those impacted by Wednesday's twister. Dozens of homes were in the storm's path and destroyed, leaving many families with nothing. At the shelter, you'll get a cot to sleep on and warm blankets. Fresh meals and snacks also will be provided.
A group of tornadoes went through our area last night and left significant amount of damage throughout South Mississippi. And so we've been out today doing damage assessment, talking with families, making sure they have a safe place to stay. And several said they didn't have a safe place to stay, so we're opening the shelter.
Now, leaders of the Red Cross say the shelter will be open as long as it's needed. Storms also causing damage in Franklin County just next door. In all, 17 injuries have been reported across multiple counties, including at least one in Franklin County. You can see from this video, debris and fallen trees litter multiple areas there in the county. We spoke with a resident who said she's had to deal with this before.
This is the second time that we've had a tornado hit our house. The first one was back in 1983 when my parents were still living. The house was not so lucky that time. It was flattened. This is the third time that the house has been rebuilt on this foundation. And but we just count ourselves as being lucky and a blessing to be alive.
Now, right now, just to give you an idea of what still needs to happen as we look at the Mississippi power outages map from poweroutage.com, you can see we still have folks without power, mostly in Lincoln County, where more than 3,000 customers, again, that's more like 6,000 or 7,000 people because of home sizes there. In Franklin County, where we just heard from that lady, 474 customers there. So that's, about 1,200 people. So still a lot more. It's much lower. It's half of what it was yesterday when we checked in terms of customers without power, but still a lot of recovery and effort still left to do there. Mima saying that if your home was damaged in the storms, here's what you should do. First, file an insurance claim, take pictures of the damage to your home, and then report that damage through Mima's self-report tool, which you can find on Mima's website, msema.org. A lot of folks saying hi on this Friday. Sheikah Hampton saying, hey, everyone, with no less than 100 hearts. Thank you so much for that, Sheikah. Glad we were able to get all of it on the screen. Bridget Roach Lewis saying TGIF and happy Mother's Day to all moms. That's right, Bridget. It is a very special weekend for those whose mothers are still around and those who are remembering their mothers this weekend, whose mothers have passed and have moved on. I know many friends and family who are dealing with that right now, and we wish thoughts and uplifting prayers for them as they deal with that. It's never I can't imagine what it's like to lose a parent, and it is certainly, when you have these milestones come around, it is bittersweet. Brit saying happy Friday, everyone. She's resting on her off day. Good for you. You should be. I mean, that's what Fridays are for, right? Linda Monroe saying good afternoon. And let's see, I'm going back down the list here. We have a lady, Mary, watching from Henderson, Texas. Well, I think you have the record, Mary. I think you're probably watching from the farthest away. So we appreciate you there. And Gurbinder Kaur, God bless everyone. We appreciate you there. I hope I pronounced your first name correctly. Sheikah Hampton, when we're talking about this, her mother passed away last month. My condolences, and we just, are thinking about you during this difficult time. And hopefully, this weekend, obviously is going to be tough. But you know, I just we just want you to know that you know, it is a difficult time, and we're just thinking of you and thinking positive thoughts. Miss Sheikah always is in here giving uplifting messages and saying hi to other people. You know, in the Facebook chat, she's always just a breath of fresh air and positivity. And so, you know, I would say that never met your mom, but you know what? I think you turned out great. You seem like a wonderful person, and we appreciate you chiming in every day that we have this update here. Juanita Johnson saying that she's from Bogachita, and they are blessed. We're just out of power. And you know what? That's the thing. When you talk about the fact that, you know, folks are having to come together, you got a lot of damage, other things like that. No fatalities, thankfully. That can't be replaced. And it's very important to remember that. Miss Juanita, I hope that your power gets restored very soon. Jewel Donaldson saying good evening. Hope you're doing well, Jewel, and happy Friday to you. Even as we deal with this aftermath, and we talked about, you know, tornadoes and updates and what the National Weather Service said. And by the way, if you want to read more about that right now on WLBT.com, we have this article here that's on the main page talking about the 5 tornadoes confirmed during the severe weather. And we have the full report from the National Weather Service here. They posted on Facebook, but it's hyperlinked in our story there. So that way you can see that information. A lot of, so they're saying over 70 miles of tornado path and 472 individual damage points. That is something else. They are looking courtesy of high resolution satellite imagery and drone photography to try and get all that information for you. And of course, let me go back to our power outages there. But I can tell you that, again, these are preliminary reports. They're subject to change, and we're probably going to find out more damage than we had. So, of course, stay with us for that. Here's something interesting that, you know, along with what we're talking about in the aftermath of tornadoes, hurricane season, of course, beginning in less than a month, the 1st of June. And here's a change that's intended to illustrate the threat a storm could pose to far inland coastal areas. Experts say they think it can save lives. The National Hurricane Center is going to include inland tropical storm and hurricane watches and warnings in its forecast cone graphics this year. Now, basically, what that means, NOAA says the change is meant to help communities remain alert to wind hazards from tropical systems, even areas far away from the coast. A climatologist and professor at the Louisiana State University Health New Orleans School of Medicine says the change was made in response to the danger posed by inland flooding from these tropical systems.
I think we've gotten kind of comfortable into believing that, you know, everything's happening within that cone, but the reality is we have impacts far beyond where the storm makes landfall. This could be a lifesaver. Yeah, I think once these storms hit the coast, the Hurricane Center used to just kind of let it go and pass it on to other agencies like the Weather Service. But I think now the Hurricane Center is going to hang on to these storms longer and work in conjunction with the other NOAA agencies that monitor the weather.
That work begins in earnest.
Now, hurricane season runs through the end of November. Researchers at Colorado State University are forecasting a slightly below average season with 13 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes. Police here in the capital city investigating a deadly shooting that took place in South Jackson. Now, this happened around noon yesterday on Gates Lane. That's off Raymond Road. Officers say 37-year-old Billy Joe Thedford III was found in the backyard of his home with multiple gunshot wounds. Investigators are still trying to figure out who shot him and why. If you have any information, please contact Crime Stoppers. And, of course, as we talk about killings here in the capital city, we have to talk about our homicide tracker. That is the 28th homicide this year. That is more than this time last year. We're up 4%. You can find more details on this tracker. You can look for previous years. If you want to look at that information, you can see it updates in real time. And, of course, anytime you click on any of these names, you'll see that information readily available. The homicide that took place here was, let me zoom in. I can show you There we go. Billy Joe Thedford III. And that's the information that we have at this time. We also, of course, break down where we are versus this time last year, all of our years that we've been tracking, including the historical years through 1976. So there's a lot of information there for you at your disposal to be able to kind of make sense of all this. You can also put your address in and see how prevalent or how often these killings happen near where you live, as like an added interactive layer there just to kind of see. By the way, if you're looking here at the map, I don't know if you can tell this, but we have the Capital Complex Improvement District outlined there. But if you remove that, you can see it a little bit better. These are all 7 of the city's wards. And these wards are color coded based on whether or not they're seeing an increase. Ward 4 seeing an increase in homicides over the last 12 months. So is Ward 1. Ward 2, it's down. 3, 4, and 5. Or excuse me, 3, 5, and 7 also down. So that's good news, even though we're still seeing a slight increase overall over last year. More information now about redistricting. We've been talking about this. Congressman Benny Thompson has represented his district for more than 30 years. He is currently Mississippi's only Democrat and the only African-American member of Congress from Mississippi. Political observers say that his seat could be in jeopardy if or when Republicans redraw the district lines. Now, Thompson says he finds it ironic that some state lawmakers want to redraw the maps when Republicans are the ones who drew his district in the first place. The Supreme Court's recent ruling in Louisiana says a district cannot be drawn based on race. Here in Mississippi, Thompson says there's nothing unconstitutional about him or his district.
I've never voted against housing. I've never voted against health care. In many instances, I've been the only vote in support of the things that Mississippi needs. We are 50th in just about everything, and I'm trying to get us off the bottom. And there are folk who don't want us to get off the bottom who say I'm doing the wrong thing. I'll resist that, and I'll fight it with every fiber in my body.
Now, the only item on the special session agenda at this point is judicial redistricting, Supreme Court districts, but the governor could expand the call to include congressional redistricting as well, or the legislature could take it up in the future. Congressman Thompson says he's prepared to fight that effort in court. And we got some weekend plans for you tonight. Of course, Pepsi Pops. Tomorrow, Makers Fest here in downtown Jackson by the 2 Mississippi museums. But let's talk about Pepsi Pops. It's just hours away. It's coming up tonight on the Res. Brown Bottling Group, of course, sponsoring that, this longtime tradition at Old Trace Park in Ridgeland. Organizers say this year's theme is Pepsi Pops celebrates America's 250th, with the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra playing patriotic favorites. There will also be food trucks and a fireworks finale over the water. 3 on Your Side's Maggie Wade will once again serve as the MC.
So this is our 45th year for Pepsi Pops. We are ecstatic for this anniversary to coincide with America's 250. It is a great way for us to help give back to the community as we open up the gates of Old Trace Park on Friday night and let the families come in and hear the sounds of the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra.
So here's your reminder. Gates open at 5:30 this evening. The concert is set to begin at 7:30. And again, right now, it's still on. They usually make the call to cancel because of rain the day before. And it looks like at this point, we're going to be okay for this showing. I certainly hope so. It's certainly a very well-attended event, and we got beautiful weather for it as long, again, as the rain holds off. That is all the time we have for this edition of the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk Update. At 2:30, your First Alert Weather Team is going to be here to kind of update you on the timing of what we can expect to see rain. It's mostly going to be, I believe, Saturday morning and maybe some chances in Saturday evening, but you'll want to check with them for that. I'm not a meteorologist, though sometimes people think I look like Dave Roberts. Of course, at 4 p.m., our on-air and online newscasts will begin as well. So you'll be sure to want to tune in for that. We got a lot of reporters working very hard to get news that you care about and, the news you should know about, keep you informed. So again, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday at 1.